Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker's budget-cutting measures, besides rolling back collective bargaining and slashing workers' pay, cut state aid to education by 9%. Teachers said the cuts will swell class sizes and that arts and music programs will be eliminated.
Civilization is a race between education and catastrophe. And I think the way we're going right now, we're headed for catastrophe. We are not racing to the top, we're racing to the bottom, and it's going to affect every single child in our state and other states.
My name's Julie Grimmie, and I'm a teacher at Milwaukee Public Schools, and we're a third world in Milwaukee. We have children that are pregnant. We have probably 40% of our children are second, third grade reading levels. We're funded for 19% special ed students in Milwaukee Public Schools, but we find our percentages for each individual school, we're closer to 39%. So there's a huge discrepancy between the students we have and the needs that they come with and the amount of funds that we have to help them. Well, we have 5,700 staff members in MPS. We were losing 433 teachers. And this was before Walker. So we're really in shock. We're in shock.
I saw some expert that said that any good teacher could teach 65 kids in a class, and I could do that if they all wanted to be there, and none of them were labeled any learning disabled, and if they were all excited I could do 65 kids. But we're looking at maybe 40 kids, and I don't know if you know middle school kids, but 40 middle school kids in a class is going to be a disaster.
My worst year was 46 students. I had 46 students. It was a lecture hall. It wasn't a classroom. And with the 433 cuts this year, we were sent a memo expecting 50 to 60 in a classroom. And that's just a given. That's just a given.
How do you do that? Can you even teach?
No, you don't teach. You mostly have a lecture format, and you have material, you present the material, and the students aren't given individual attention. You're not interacting with the students, and you're doing it 4.5 hours a day.
I think I'm not going to get a better education, and there will be more students in my class, and I won't learn as well as I would used to.
The key is the classroom size. When we had 22, 24 as the maximum in our classrooms, we were able to work with our students. Everyone knows it's an issue of class size. In order to keep small class size, you have to be able to have funding so that you have your teachers, so that we can work with our students.
It's harder to learn because you can't get a one-on-one experience as you could earlier.
We had Mary Bell, the president of WEAC. She told us that we would break up Milwaukee Public Schools, which has never worked, because when you have individual schools, you have all this cronyism that goes on. You have no coordination. You have excess costs because they're all individual schools. There's nothing centralized. And to say that we should break up MPS was throwing us under the bus. It was just totally selling us out. Most of our teachers in Milwaukee Public Schools are retiring in 3 to 4 years. People are bailing as soon as they can.
The budget cuts are going to affect the schools, I think, tremendously. I think, we see the cuts. I was living in Chicago, so we had this huge deficit happening last year, and so you see those cuts happening, cutting the arts, the music, the sports, cutting bilingual resources. It seems like a strike is really going to be the way to stop things and say, hey, this is not okay. Because to wait for the legal action to take place with whether or not what they did was right or legal, and then versus the recall stuff, it just seems like that's going to take so much time, and so much can happen in that space.
With UW-Madison becoming privatized and UW-Milwaukee being next on the list, tuition could go up to what, $20,000 a year, and there's absolutely no way that I personally can afford that, and I know that a lot of other people are not going to be able to afford that either.
There's been a systemic transfer of wealth to the top of our economic system And the billions are sitting with the hedge funders have our money. There's 400 hedge funders that made out like bandits and looted from our pocketbooks, and that's why they're cutting the teachers. They're cutting us because they took our money. And it's a matter of redistributing the wealth.
That means that we'll have few people educated, and there goes our democracy, and there goes our civilization. If you don't educate them all, what are they going to be? How are they going to have dreams? How are they going to realize their dreams if they don't even know what possibilities there are out there?
Yes, it does.
That's what education's for.